Hello and welcome to 40 Entrepreneur Drive. I'm your host, Kenya. Before we get into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up with my new uploads on the channel. And also, hit the like button to let me and YouTube know what a fine job I'm doing. If you don't like the video or have something else to tell me, be sure to voice your opinion in the comment section below. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Hello and welcome to 40 Entrepreneur Drive. It's me, Kenya. When is the last time you were called weird? How often are you called weird? Why, just the other day, my foreman, upon watching me studying and practicing my Japanese calligraphy at my workstation during a break, said, "Kenya, that's why I like you, 'cause you're weird." So, what is weird? How do we actually define weird? Luckily, I have this handy dandy dictionary to help us out. According to Webster, weird is an adjective involving or suggesting the supernatural, unearthly, or eerie, such as a weird sound. 2. Fantastic, bizarre, such as a weird hat. 3 is an archaic use, concerned with or controlling fate or destiny. The word weird is synonymous with unnatural, preternatural, eerie, unearthly, uncanny, refers to that which is mysterious and apparently outside natural law. Weird refers to that which is suggestive of the fateful intervention of supernatural influences in human affairs, such as the weird adventures of a group lost in the jungle. Eerie refers to that which, by suggesting the ghostly, makes one's flesh creep, such as an eerie moaning. Unearthly refers to that which seems by its nature to belong to another world, such as an unearthly light which preceded the storm. Uncanny refers to that which is mysterious because of its apparent defiance of the laws established by experience, such as an uncanny ability to recall numbers. And directly under that definition is the definition of weirdo. As a noun, it is slang meaning an odd, eccentric, or abnormal person or thing. I remember the first time being called weird was in elementary school. I think I was a good natured kid with an average sense of humor. I knew how to make kids laugh, but I was often called weird then, and I can't remember anything specific that I did or said, but at the time I kind of took it as a badge of honor because even though I didn't like that label, it was attention, and most kids around that age like attention. By the time I was in junior high and I was still being called weird, I definitely knew that was something that I did not want to be called. Those are the formative years where identity is so important. In junior high, there were the pretty girls, the popular girls, the smart girls, the edgy girls, the sporty girls, and I was the weird girl, and I didn't want to be in that category. I didn't know how to not be weird because, as the advice goes, I was just being myself. And what do you do when you don't know how to be anything but yourself? But the thing that you're being called, you don't feel like is yourself. I hated being called weird in junior high. In high school, I was called weird for about 2 years. For the 4 years of high school, for the 4 years of high school, I was called weird for 2 of those years. The other 2 years, I was in a private school, Christian school, and I pretty much walked the walk and talked the talk. I wore skirts and dresses like all the other girls. I went to Bible study class and quoted my scriptures. I wore my hair and makeup, which was non-existent, in a modest way, and I pretty much fit in. When I went back to public school, the return of the weird was very apparent, or rather it had never really left. The same people that I had grown up with before going to private school still saw me the same way, treated me the same way, and called me the same thing, the weird girl. I stepped away from this editing and came back and had a couple memories of high school and Christian school and private school. And I actually was called weird mostly by my fellow African American girls, to whom I was compared to constantly. I did not wear the same types of skirts, like trendy skirts and dresses that they wore. Being a plus size girl back in the 90s, there were not cute and trendy clothes for girls my size. So I kind of wore granny looking clothes, and I didn't wear my hair permed or relaxed. I didn't wear it straightened. I still kind of wore like piggy tail type of styles, which for my age group was already out of style. So now that I think about it, I was called weird back then, and just not by the general population, aka the white folks, didn't really call me weird. It's always been people that look like me. So by the time I got to college, I was no longer considered the weird person because there were so many other people that were from different backgrounds. Everybody was different and unique, and I didn't have to fit into some type of preconceived mold that I was expected to fit in according to the neighborhood and peer group that I had been raised in. So college was a good time for me. It was one of the times in my life where I just felt free to be me and not be weird. Not saying that I was never called weird. I mean, I just took it with the good and the bad. Now that I think about it, sometimes I feel like some of the things that I do is weird. But do I really feel like it's weird? Or am I basing it on the opinions of so many people that have called me weird throughout the years? It's Thanksgiving holiday right now, and I have chosen to spend most of my time in my closet, my studio here, making videos for YouTube. Some people might think that that is very weird that I would choose to do this to myself, but I don't think it's weird at all. I'm doing something that I really enjoy and really get fulfillment from. So, is it weird? And if it is weird, is it okay that it's weird? And if it's not okay that it's weird, what else would I call it? I'm in a walk-in closet for like the last 72 hours, and I plan on being here for another 48 to 72 hours. Is that weird? I blame society for being linguistically lazy. Like I mentioned in the video that I made on the word crazy, there are just too many words in the English language that can be substituted for weird, especially when we are talking about people, describing people. So, what about using words like funny? If a person is actually funny and they know how to make people laugh, they have a great sense of humor, call them funny, call them comedic. What if they're just different from the people around them? Maybe they don't dress the same, or they behave in a way that is different, just using the word different. What about unique? Unique, I think, is a pretty positive word. I wouldn't have mind being called unique my whole life. It's a lot better than being called weird. Eclectic. Eclectic is when you take something from different genres or different ways of being and you mash them together to make it your own. Eclectic. I like that word, eclectic. Avant-garde. I've never been called avant-garde. I think that's more of a fashion term, and I don't have a sense of fashion, so I'm not mad that people never called me avant-garde. But unorthodox and free thinking, I think those are words that would describe me much more appropriately than the word weird. I'm sure there is a list of other words that would better describe someone other than weird, and I wish more people I wish more people would find those words. You know what? My kids even call me weird. They say that it's weird that I have a dictionary. Keiko, perfect timing. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Am I weird?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. Because you're extra.
I'm extra.
No, not in a getaway, but in a you way.
Oh, okay. Are there any words that you can think of that might describe me other than weird?
Hyper.
Other than that?
Bug-like.
Bug-like?
Yes.
I hope that's not in how I look.
No.
Can you expound upon that?
Because bugs are hyper.
Thank you for your input. What can I help you with?
When you're done, can we go out? I need to get more paint.
Sure. Do you think you're weird?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I got my jeans from you.
Bye, Keiko. Weird is one of those words that kind of rubs me the wrong way because even though I know that people don't usually mean anything by it, they're not saying it to be cruel or to be unkind. Weird does have a negative connotation. Weird is ostracizing. Weird is isolating. Weird is other. And especially when you're a young person growing up, you don't want to be other, you want to be a part of your peer group. And so I've never really liked weird, even though I guess I kind of learned how to reappropriate it, if that's the way to describe it. I just learned how to take it and make it my own, but it's never really gonna sit right with me. And in the end, I really wish people wouldn't use it towards me anyways. I mean, some people probably like being weird, like being called weird, and go out of their way to be weird because at least if you're weird, you're not cookie cutter normal. That's interesting though. Some people struggle to be normal, and other people work very hard to be weird. And those that are weird by choice, they really, those that are weird by choice get a satisfaction from the label. But what about those who are called weird involuntarily and maybe even have spoken up against it, but they are continually called weird? Okay, so how about you? At the top of this video, I asked, when was the last time you were called weird? And if you are like me and have been called weird very often throughout your life, I'd like to know, do you like being called weird? Why or why not? Let me know in the comment section below. Would you prefer the word weird be substituted with another word? And if so, what word and under what circumstances? I mentioned it before, people who choose to be weird, liking the word, versus people who may not really prefer to be called that. I think the opinion of the word weird and how it's used is also seen differently depending on if you are one of those people like me who have been called weird most of your life, and if you have never been called weird or rarely called weird. From the outside looking in, it's just a word, it doesn't mean anything, and from the inside looking out, oh. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow me on social media.